Hi, this is Rodney Apple with SCM Talent Group. I recently sat down with Aviva Kosansky with Profit Point. Aviva works as a supply chain analyst, and today you'll get a glimpse of her day in the life work to include the fascinating world of network modeling and optimization. Hope you enjoy. Aviva, would love to learn, what does it really take from those building blocks and the foundation, the skills, both the hard, the soft skills, to qualify for a position? How do folks get into a role like that?
Yeah. So, you know, I think it's a lot of, it's really important to have data analytics skills. I would say that's probably like the number one thing that I would look for, right? Can someone really analyze data? Because, the way I see network design is that it's a lot in the details, right? And it's being able to really dive into the details of the data and understand the nitty gritty, but not get lost in them and still be able to step out and really see that big picture of how does that all play into the overall network and how, what is that balance and how does production and demand and inventory and transportation and warehousing, how do they all affect each other, right? So it's really having a strong data analysis background and skill set, but also being able to step out and see the big picture and analyze, I guess, the data, right, in a overview kind of big picture way.
Aviva, if you think about the day in the life idea, in your experience in the kind of work that you do, what does that look like? And I know some of this work is ongoing, some of it's project based, but how do you describe, in the work that you do, what kind of objectives are out there and kind of how does that turn into what the day-to-day starts to look like?
Yeah, so I would say my day-to-day is a mix of, I spend a lot of time in Excel and in the details and in the data, right? And as at the beginning stages of a project, collecting the data and going through it and cleaning it and, working with our clients on understanding their data, right? I think there's a lot of value add that a lot of companies don't always have a solid understanding of their data and the implications of it. So spend a lot of time on that. A good amount of time in meetings, right? So working with, folks, I would say across the spectrum, right? So it's depending on who the decision makers are, who the folks are that get the data for you, right? And so helping understand, how to collect that data and what data we're looking for. Big picture, what are our goals for the project, right? What are the objectives, presenting that back. And then a good chunk of time day to day too on then analyzing the data, right? So I would say the process typically is there's a good bit of, data prep and data analysis that'll feed into an optimization model, sit around while that runs and then, take the output and, look at it, does it make sense and start to tell that story from the output of the data to then present back to our clients.
Aviva, you mentioned, in these type of projects, and I can tell you from my time at Coke, it kind of looks the same whether you're doing it in-house or you're doing it as a partner with somebody. What's the breadth of all those different functional, team members that you have to interact with in order to get that full picture to do the analysis, build the model, draw the insights out and guide, to recommendations?
I mean, it's all over, I would say, Chris, right? And that's the beauty of it. And I think part of what I like about my role so much, right? So kicking off a project, ending a project, a lot of times, we will talk with global leadership across all functions, right? So finance, operations, customer success, manufacturing, right? But then to really set the objectives and set the overall goal of the project, right? And then we start working with data analysts and, IT folks and, finance and everyone across the board to be able to start collecting that data, running the models, right? And understanding the implications of it, right? The folks who, work at plant managers, right? Is this how your plant really runs? Are we modeling this correctly so that when we look at a future scenario, right? Are we capturing the differences, right? We want to make sure we have a solid baseline that the model represents how the company operates today, so that when we compare it to future states and future scenarios, there's trust in the data, there's trust in the model, and there's trust in the output that these changes, if they were to be implemented, really would provide value and savings.